Welcome to Conversations with Miss Marcy, the podcast where we get real about relationships, culture, and the truth that shapes us. No fluff, no filters, just bold conversations that matter. Now let's dive in. It don't make me wait. He said you gotta. Then say love me, then put me in Chanel. Then say love me, then put me in Chanel. I don't know why I just had to try that out. I was like, I gotta get that part right. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, y'all. Tyler has a beautiful voice, but it's just too bad people don't like her personality. Oh my gosh. I remember her first single, I think it was Make Me Sweat, Make Me Holler, Make Me Lose My Breath, Make Me Water. That's a pretty ass song. But I think once people got to see her in interviews and shit like that, it was like, ugh, no. Her personality just wasn't, oh my gosh. But it's too bad because she makes beautiful music and she has a beautiful voice. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Miss Marcy. I am your host, Miss Marcy. Y'all, it is cold here in Ohio, y'all. We cold. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are, and I hope, you know what I mean? Well, I can't hope y'all not cold because I think everybody getting a taste of this weather. From down to Georgia, on down to Texas, on down to, you know what I'm saying, Minnesota. Everybody catching this weather. You know, it used to be a time where people would be like, y'all in Ohio, y'all be getting that snow, y'all be getting that snow and stuff like that. But it's like, shit, now, hell, everybody catching some type of weather. But I tell you what, I would rather deal with, the weather that we get here in Ohio than to deal with the weather that people get other places. I mean, even on down to Tennessee, on down to just a lot of places, they are starting to get snow and stuff now. I think Tennessee always did kind of get weather like ours here, but just not as bad. But yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I just rather get what we get here because yeah, sometimes it is hit or miss. I mean, sometimes we don't even get any snow. Yeah, we do get cold weather though. I will say that, but it is what it is. I don't want to get hurricanes and shit like that. Mm-mm. So anyway, yeah. So let's get into this mental health check-in. Oh, y'all, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, download this podcast, and share this podcast with your mama and them, your cousin them, and all of them, so everybody can be in the know when a new episode drops. Okay. All right. So let's get into this mental health check-in. So basically, I would say lately I've been cool. It's been like I said, we're getting this cold weather and stuff. And typically this is where people's seasonal depression kick in and things like that. But I will say I've been, other than having a few annoying moments with people or certain people, I feel like I've been okay. I've been cool. I've been cool. My brother that passed away, his birthday is coming up on February the 7th. And so I have been thinking about that a lot lately. We usually get together still as a family, to celebrate his life and everything. And like I said, that's around the corner. I typically, his birthday doesn't bother me. When his birthday comes, I actually feel, I feel happy about celebrating his life and everything. It's the anniversary of his death that actually kind of, I don't know what I'm going to feel that day when I wake up. Some days I'll be like, it's been 7 years now, actually. So sometimes I've had moments where I've just been like truly sad, but then sometimes some years I've had days where when that time comes around, I actually am okay. The first year, of course, I just wasn't good, but the years after, I think I just been kind of I've been okay. I've been okay. But I still try to give myself some grace on that day, and I try to not do too much. I mean, if I don't have to go to work, I probably won't. But actually, it's good that I do because it keeps my mind off of things and everything. So we'll see when that day comes. But for now, his birthday is around the corner, so I'll just take it one day at a time and just kind of focus on that and everything. But with all of that being said, I mentioned that to say that, yeah, that's been on my mind, speaking of, my mental health and everything, that has been on my mind. But again, I have been just trying to take that in stride and just, trying to do the best I can with that, because it seemed like no matter how many years go by, you still have a place of sadness when you lose a loved one like that, especially a sibling or something like that. You do still have there's a place of sadness that you always feel, even though you still live your life. It's true what they say, the pain never goes away. It's just more so you just learn to live with it and everything. But that still don't mean you won't have your moments where you don't have, moments where you still cry and things like that. So I'm just giving myself the patience and just allow myself to feel whatever it is I need to feel. One thing I don't do is I don't like to suppress any feelings, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is you gotta feel. So yeah. So that's that on that. And what else is going on? So, like I said, y'all, we've been snowed in here in Ohio. I've been home for the past 2 days, ever since Monday. Well, today's Tuesday. So, ever since Monday, I've been home and everything. And because my job, if we're at a level 2 in our county, where regardless of if it's not the same county as the job, we are not required to report to work. So, yesterday we were at a level 3, and then today we were at a level 2. So, honey, I woke up, I checked the source or whatever, the sheriff's Facebook page, because that's how you keep up to date. The Franklin County Sheriff Department or whatever, they'll tell you the updates on the levels and stuff. And I seen it was still at a level 2. I said, shit, I'm going back to bed. Marcy going back to bed. And that's exactly what I did. So then I got up and I got situated, did me a little workout and everything, ate me a good bowl of oatmeal. I know I like my oats, honey. My oatmeal and my boiled egg and my sausage, and it was good. So did that and everything. And so yeah, now just like I was like, let me just do a podcast, and because I didn't get to do it over the weekend. So I was like, let me do it today, perfect timing. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I want to get into the topic. I'm just gonna get right on into it today. So today's topic, let me tell you something. I saw this. It came to me um on I was on Facebook, and oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean for y'all to hear that. So I was on Facebook, right? And I saw this and I said, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this because this is interesting, And also with me having, my best friend, I think I told y'all about this, where my best friend lost her son back in October. She lost her son in a very, very tragic way. And it just made me think about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? It made me really, really think about just life and parenting and things like that. So this is what I'm gonna do. Now, before we get into that, okay, let me go ahead and get into this ad, y'all. So let me go ahead and get into that, and then I'll come back, and then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about it. So, all right, y'all, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Trevon Martin with American Income Life Insurance. If you're in Ohio and thinking about protecting your family, Trevon makes it super easy and personal. And here's something I love. They've got the Legacy Head Start program. It's really affordable, and it's all about giving your kids a head start in life. I mean, we all want the best for our kids, right? Right. So why not give them a little boost for their future? I also want to mention the Child Safe Kits, which are absolutely free. These kits offer peace of mind for parents in case of an emergency or if your child goes missing. Having all their critical information in one place helps law enforcement respond faster and more effectively. Also, the Child Safe Kits provides a centralized location for personal info, physical descriptors, and fingerprints, crucial for creating Amber Alerts or sharing with the authorities. If you are in Ohio and you are serious about protecting your family, you can reach out to Trevon at 937-430-9044 or reach him at his email, Trey Martin, TreMartin 32@gmail.com. Just tell them Conversations with Miss Marcy sent you and get your family's future protected today. Yes. All right, y'all. So, like I was saying, this topic is about having children. When people don't want children, stop shaming people about not having kids. So, this is how this came up. Like I said, it made me think about it with being that my best friend just lost her son and everything. And I know a few people actually in my age group and people that I knew from high school who have lost their children. And it is just so sad and so heartbreaking. And like I said, it just makes you think. And I feel like there's a lot of feelings about having kids that people don't really want to talk about. And with this being, the Conversations with Miss Marcy, we talk about stuff like that. We talk about things that may seem like, hard conversations that people don't want to discuss, but we're going to talk about it here. But let me read this to y'all. And this is what I saw, and it captured me. I said, you know what? I'm going to talk about that today. So this was from, I think it was Tokyo Vanity, her Facebook. She posted, she said, why does us being happy and celebrating not having children and having freedom upset parents so much? If y'all love being a parent so much, if parenthood is so beautiful and the best thing you ever did, how does me being happy about not having kids make you feel bad about being a parent? Make that make sense. When I see y'all with y'all kids and y'all families, that doesn't make me feel bad about not having kids. Also, we don't talk about how people with kids always trying to age shame people into having kids. And you know what? I wanted to talk about that because she is so right. And it does feel like it does feel like that at times. And I think me and friends to the show, Aaliyah, we did a podcast about this. It was probably about a year or two ago. We kind of talked about this, about how, because she doesn't have children either. We talked about how people try to act like if you don't have children and that makes you less of a woman and things like that. And my experience has been, I've always gotten the whole, oh, why you don't have kids? What you waiting on? I seem to get that from Black women. And I'm not trying to be funny, but it's always single Black women. And I'm not even trying to be funny when I say that, but I feel like when I come across other cultures and other races, they never come at me like that. They're usually like, the question they may ask is, oh, do you want kids? But they never say, oh, what you waiting on? Girl, you better hurry up. I had one of my cousins tell me, she said, girl, you better hurry up and have some kids. Who gonna take care of you when you get older? Here's my thing. That ain't even no reason to be having no damn kids. My thing is, shit, who's to say that when your kids get older, they gonna even want to take care of you when you start getting older? That's crazy to want to have kids for that reason. And I love kids, but I'm gonna be honest. Like, somebody just asked me recently why I don't have children, and I said, you know what? I don't think I wanted them bad enough. And I love kids. That's the crazy part. But I don't think I wanted them bad enough, because I feel like if I did, I would have some by now. And let's just be real. Most people had children out of carelessness. Let's just be real. For real. Like, most people had them because y'all was fucking and you got pregnant. But it wasn't like it was always planned, or hell, some of it was planned, because some of you bitches out there had them for trying to keep a nigga. Okay, let's just be real. Some women had babies because they was trying to keep a nigga. They thought it was gonna hold on to a nigga. Okay, now I'm not talking about people who were married and were thrilled of starting a family together. Of course, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about people, most of my peers who had children, who were just, you had kids because you was laying up, you was having sex, whatever. And I think it's like, to ask somebody, oh, why you don't have no kids? What you waiting on? That's kind of like some bullshit, because it's kind of like, it's like, kids are not for everybody. They're just not. And I don't care what nobody say. And I'm not even a parent, but I can say this. Having children is not for the weak. Being a parent is a, oh my God, it's a constant thing. It's a constant job. It's a never ending job. Even when your children get grown and out of your house, you're going to always worry about your children. You can say, you pray about it, things like that. And that's fine. You will continue to pray for your kids and everything like that. But it still doesn't take away your natural feeling as a human being, because remember, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So, which means we're going to feel everything that a human is supposed to feel, which means fear and, and things like that. So that's why you have to pray about it. But I'm just saying, that's not praying about it and stuff like that doesn't mean that you're not going to not have those feelings. You're going to always worry about your child. You're going to always want the best for your child. You're going to always want your child to do the best. And the unfortunate part about having children is you don't know which way they're going to turn out. Like one of my cousins once said, and it was some of the realest shit she ever said. My cousin, she is no longer with us, so God rest her soul. My cousin Tia, she said, you can do the best you can as a parent. You can give your child the best. You can think you doing just an A1 job as a parent. But at the end of the day, you don't know who you raising. You really don't know who you are raising. And I agree with that because I've seen people when I was coming up and they seemed like they had the best of the best. They had 2-parent homes. They had this, they had that. And they still grew up and went a whole nother direction. And I feel like that's a hurtful thing to a parent. It's like a slap in the face to a parent. Can you imagine being a parent and you busting your ass to go ahead and, do whatever you got to do for your kids and make sure they got the best, and you just doing, in your mind, you're doing the best you can, because at the end of the day, there is no perfect parent. Nobody knows when they're, like, you don't know where you drop the ball as a parent. You don't know until your children get older. A lot of times you don't know. So in your mind, you're doing the best you can. And then you see your child growing up and they start getting into the streets. So they start getting into some other things. And you like, damn, I didn't raise you like that. Or for some of y'all who hate to see y'all child turn gay, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, some of y'all be like that. Like, oh my gosh, I'd rather die than to see my child be gay. Oh my gosh. You know what I'm saying? Your child didn't go the direction that you thought they were supposed to go. And I can say that I can imagine, because I don't have kids, but I can imagine that's one of the hardest things about being a parent is you don't have that control. You have to understand that your child is a child, but once your child gets a certain age, it's like you do have to let go. But that's the hard part about being a parent is you don't really want to let go. And so it's just a lot to me. I think it's a lot that comes with parenting. And don't get me wrong, I think parenting is a beautiful thing. I think having children is a beautiful thing, but not everybody wants to experience that. And I'm going to be all the way honest. If people would keep it real, some of you motherfuckers got kids and don't even want them. Some people got children and don't want them. And I bet you if more people would be honest and they would say, you know what, if I could go back and do it again, I would have never had kids. I mean, I love my kids. And you know what I'm saying? I'm thankful but hey, they like, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't even have no kids. So again, if you feel like that, and if we know that's the reality for some of you people, why shame somebody else about not having no kids? Why tell somebody, oh, you're getting older. Oh, you better have a baby. What you waiting on? Who gonna take care of you when you get older? You know what I'm saying? Like, I done seen people where they have, I've seen, and we all have seen this actually, where you have an elderly person and they got about 5 or 6 kids, and hell, none of those kids come and do for them, come and check on them, maybe just one, and it causes strife within those siblings because the one sibling is like, damn, why the hell am I the only one taking care of mama or daddy or whatever? You know what I'm saying? And y'all asses ain't doing shit. So it's just like, you don't know what your kid's gonna do. So don't bank on your child taking care of you as you become older. And then not only that, but sometimes as a parent, sometimes you may not want your child to feel burdened with taking care of you because you done got old and whatever. Sometimes you may not want that. So it can go all kind of ways. But I just feel like what she was saying in that message on Facebook, I really do agree with her, because it's like, yeah, sometimes you have some people say, oh, motherhood is the best thing I've ever, but the best thing I've ever done was become a mom. And, and that's fine if that's really how you feel. That is beautiful. And I feel like if you want kids, have kids. If you really want kids, have kids. But I feel like if a person don't want kids, don't shame nobody for that. At the end of the day, we are all responsible for the decisions that we make. I don't let nobody shame me about it at all. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? If I wanted some, I'll have some. And that's the point of being an adult and having your rights. You decide what you want for your life and what you don't want for your life. And I understand sometimes shit happens, and sometimes, you get married and stuff, and you thought you was going to be with this person for the rest of your life. And then you have kids and stuff, and it goes another way. And like I said, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, like, the people who sit back and try to act like, you less of a woman if you don't have kids. And I'm gonna say this too. And having kids don't make you a woman, baby. And having kids don't make you a man. It's all about how you handle having kids. Cause I'm gonna go ahead and be real about this. Some of you motherfuckers are not good parents. Some of you not even good parents. Some of you not. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, there is no such thing as a perfect parent. I get that. But when I say not a good parent, I'm talking about the type of parents who Dump their kids off on any damn body. Dump their kids off on any damn body. Don't think about their children's safety. Don't think about their children's safety. Don't think about their children's feelings. Just all about their stuff. And that's another thing I want to say. I've heard people try to say, if you don't, when somebody don't have kids or somebody don't want kids, that mean they selfish. At the end of the day, I've seen shit where some people who got kids is still selfish. Like you got some women who be having children or whatever, and they be getting wrapped up into these men or whatever, and be moving the men on in with them and stuff. And the child is still young or whatever. And your kids don't want to see that shit. Your kids don't care about you having a new man and you feeling like you all in love, But it's inconsiderate you moving somebody in on your child. I don't care how you feel about a man, how in love you think you are. I don't feel like it's right to move somebody in on your child. So to me, that's selfish. It's selfish when you looking good and your kids looking a damn mess, but you looking good. You looking good from head to toe, but your kids looking like shit. And it's not the child's fault. I'm not talking about nobody's child, but I'm just saying, I think that's selfish. When you don't put your kids first, you selfish as fuck. So, like I said, I just don't appreciate, and I don't like when people try to talk shit about somebody just because they don't want kids, or they choose not to have kids, or they just haven't had kids. And you never know what reasons people choose not to have children, and that's their prerogative. And like I said, people be like, oh, and you don't have, if somebody don't want kids, that mean they selfish, or they just want to be. And here's the thing: what if that's the case though? What if they are selfish? That is their prerogative to be selfish, because what you don't want, if somebody don't want kids, you don't want them to have kids. You feel what I'm saying? Because if somebody don't want children, they may not be a good parent if they go ahead and have children. If they decide to just have children because everybody's saying they should have kids, and they may not even be a good parent. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, yeah, if somebody don't want children, stop the judgment. Stop trying to assume what somebody may feel or think. And you never know. Like some people may feel they may had a traumatizing childhood themselves, and they may not trust that they will be a good parent. I feel like that's the right thing to do if you choose not to have children because you feel like, you know what, I don't know if I'll be a good parent or not. I don't even want to put nobody through that. I don't want to bring a child into this world. I feel like that's commendable. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, that's commendable because you know yourself. Because there are some people that have children out here, and I've seen people, and I'll be like, damn, bitch, you should have never had kids. And just because you know how to lay down and fuck and get pregnant, don't mean you should be a mom. And some women out here so fucking trifling, it's ridiculous. I be thinking like, man, if I was a man, oh my gosh, like I would be so just upset if I had a child with some certain types of women. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. And shame on some of you men who do have children and you able to go to sleep at night. You got kids and you don't even know what the hell going on with them. You don't know if they ate today or not. You don't know what's going on in the household that they live in, but you able to but you able to slumber and sleep peacefully. Shame on you. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? But yeah, I feel like I said, if you want children, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with having children. I think, like I said, I think it's a beautiful thing. But I feel like if somebody don't want it, don't judge them either. Don't judge nobody that don't have kids, and people who got kids, don't judge people who have children. I think people need to keep their mouth shut and mind their business when it comes to that, because I done babysat and been like, damn, oh my gosh, like, oh, this is a job. This is a job. Like, I don't know. And I always have people tell me, like, you would be a great mom, things like that. And I'm not saying, I mean, hell, if it's meant for me to have a baby, I guess I will have a baby. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But so far, I've never been pregnant or anything like that. And I know, some people may be like, yeah, she lying, because that's another thing I saw in the comments on Tokyo Vanity's post. Some females were saying, oh, yeah, some of y'all bitches, had abortions and stuff like that, and you know what I'm saying? But and that's fine. People entitled to think that. I ain't the one to I'm not the one to be like, oh, let me go try to prove that I ain't never had no boy. I ain't got shit to prove to nobody. You know what I mean? But I know what my body done did and what it ain't did, or things like that. So It is what it is, but that is the common thing, for people to think like, oh, because it just seems so unrealistic that somebody could be, my age in their 40s and never ever have been pregnant. I've never been pregnant or anything like that. So yeah. And when you sit back and you look at stuff, and when you sit back and look at stuff and you just see all the things that come with parenting, you can't blame somebody for saying, you know what, I don't think I want that. First of all, you gotta make sure you haven't you breed and then you're mixing blood with the right person, and you just never know if that is, you just never know. And everybody got different ideals of parenting. I feel like before you have children with somebody, it is important to know what their idea of parenting is, because truth be told, everybody got different ideas of parenting. Their style of parenting is different. Like you have, just like on a job, you have micromanagement, and then sometimes you have, the hands off type of management where you got those same type of parents. Sometimes you have, you got hands on parents, parents that want to be involved. They're involved in every aspect of their child's life, and they want to go to the parent teacher conferences. They want to, they want the teachers to know who they are. They're involved. They're helping their children with their homework after school. They're involved in the school activities. They are involved parent. They're hands on. Now you got some parents and some, and they just feel like they need to just provide financially. Hey, my children got the best clothes. They got the this. I'm feeding them. I'm sheltering them. And that's that. And then they off to work, or they wrapped up into their man, or they whatever they got going on, or whatever. So it's just different styles of parenting. You know, so you just gotta know stuff like that. And when you out here just hooking up with people, and you just, having sex and laying it low and spreading it wide, you know what I'm saying, free willing, and getting your club shot up or whatever, and you end up having babies with a person, you don't know how that's gonna be, because you don't even know that person. You don't even know what type of relationship they think they should have with their children. I had a guy once say, "Shit, I mean, the daddies don't need to really be there like that. I think they need to just, long as they send money and long as they provide." I said, "What?" And this guy was a married man. He was married and had a child. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what you think." But he wasn't that type of father. Like, he was a very involved father. I don't understand how he came to that conclusion, or even why he even said some shit like that, because he wasn't even that type of father. Yeah. He was a really good friend of mine, childhood friend of mine. I wonder how he's doing, actually. I really wonder how he's doing, but I haven't talked to him. Ooh, I haven't talked to him since what, 2019? Mm-mm. But like, here's one of the comments on her post. It said, "I bet the kids who was killed by their parent wish their mom didn't want or have kids. Just because you can have kids don't mean you should." Yep, that's what I just said. And it said, "It's a lot of mentally unstable people with kids. It's so many people," she said, "like me, who choose to not have kids." She said, "Do I love kids? Yes. If I get pregnant, it said, would I abort? No. However, I've made it this far with no kids because I'm not reckless who I have sex with. I've also been abstinent for 2 years now." She said, she added that with a little giggle thingy. Damn, she has the same mentality as I do. Yeah, that's how I feel like. Yeah, exactly what she said. Like, shit, I love kids, and I feel like I said, just because you can sit down, lay down, and have children and get pregnant, don't mean you should. Just like, just because you got the money for something, don't mean you need to spend it. I mean, sometimes just because you can do something, don't mean you should. And like she said, like this commenter said, her name was Jasmine Davis. Just like she said, it's people out here that got kids and just flat out don't even need them. And like I said earlier, a lot of people got kids and they will not admit that they really don't want them. There's an ugly side. There can be a dark side to parenting. You can turn around and have kids, and your fucking kids mess around, don't even like your ass. I'm seeing people I mean, it's so heartbreaking. Like, I'm seeing people whose kids are going through stuff, like they getting in them streets. They getting in the streets. I know a couple girls whose sons are locked up and stuff like that. And It's just hard. Like, it's hard. Don't ever let nobody tell you, oh, parenting it ain't hard. It's just no, shut the fuck up. And if you're not a full-time parent, if you just a weekend warrior type of fucking parent, or you're not really involved, shut up. Like, don't even say that. Don't even fix your mouth to say that parenting is not hard. You saying it's not hard because your ass ain't really having to deal with the whole load of parenting, you know? So I don't know. And then people be like, I remember I was on a kick where it was probably like 2012, somewhere in there. I was on this kick where I was like, I don't want no kids unless I'm married. I don't want no kids. Absolutely. I want to be married. I want to be married. And I remember back then when, bitches that asked me like, oh, why you ain't got kids? What you waiting on? You know how they do. What you waiting on? And I'll be like, oh, well, I want to be married first. I want to be married. And then bitches be rolling their eyes and shit like, well, I mean, that marriage don't guarantee the perfect situation, and it's like, bitch, didn't nobody say that I was looking for the perfect situation. You asked me why I didn't have children and what I was waiting on, and I told you I wanted to be married first. What the fuck is the problem? Why do people get mad when you say shit like that? Like, no situation is gonna be perfect. But damn, at least we could, especially in the Black community. We grew up in single parent households, most of us. And it's like, why would you want to turn around and not give your child a better start than what you had? No, it's not guaranteed to last. No, it's not guaranteed. But still, at least you can say you tried. This whole just recklessly having sex and just, oh, if I get pregnant, oh well, must have been meant to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's bullshit. To me, that's a ghetto ass mentality. And I think it's ghetto to be sitting up telling somebody, oh, you're 25 now, girl, you better better have a baby. It's better to have a baby while you young. Don't be having a baby when you get older, because when you get older, you risk health issues and things like that, which is true. Like, you do risk health issues, but shit, you risk that when you young. I know some young women who had children, and they children have had birth defects and stuff like that, or special needs and things like that. So part of me, I don't know if I really, I don't know, I don't know if I really believe the whole, oh, when you if you a certain age, I don't know. I do think you take risk as far as your body snapping back, or your body being able to handle it because of the fact that you are older and stuff like that, and your body just don't recover like it did when you was a young girl. But I don't know, like, far as your children having birth defects and things like that, I don't know if I want to say that that's solely, I don't know. Again, I ain't never been pregnant. I don't know enough about fucking pregnancy, and I'm not a fucking doctor to really say. But like I said, I can only say what I've seen, and I've seen young women go through the experience of having children that came out with special needs and things like that. So I'm just saying. So, and I'm sorry, can we stop shaming people who don't want children? Can we stop passing judgment on people who don't want to have children? Can we stop just trying to assume we know why they don't want kids? And that's another thing. You never know. Sometimes somebody may not be able to have children. I feel like at a certain age, you shouldn't ask nobody why they don't have children. Like, when somebody is like 35 on up or whatever, or in their 30s, I don't think you should be asking nobody why you ain't got no kid. What you waiting on? What you waiting on? It's not. It's always somebody, like I said, it's always, I feel like you see that more so in the Black community. I don't care what nobody say. And until I experience different, I'm gonna continue to say that it's always in the Black community where it's, oh, you this age, what you want? Why you ain't got no kid? What you waiting on, girl? Girl, your eggs gonna get old, girl. You better hurry up, girl. Like, girl, you better shut the fuck up, girl. How about that? Okay. Cause like I said, I be seeing people with kids and they be like, girl, I wish I would have did it different, girl. I wouldn't have had no kids. I ain't even gonna lie. Girl, please. But anyway, yeah, let's just stop the shame. Let's stop assuming why people don't have kids. Stop passing judgment, and stop being mad because they happy because they don't have kids. Because I bet you if they was sitting around miserable because they don't have kids, y'all be like, well, don't worry about it. If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Just like when people be happy when they single. Like, when somebody happy because they single and they living their best life or whatever, motherfuckers always want to try to be like, So, are you single? Are you dating? Oh my gosh. Are you like you supposed to be miserable as fuck because you single? Like they be like, people be like, are you dating anybody? Like, oh, where your man? Why you single, girl? Why you single? Or you got men like, why you single? Like people just act like you can't be happy. Like people just want you to always be thinking the grass is green on the other side. It's people who are married and they miserable as fuck. Okay, they miserable as fuck. So it's like, quit, get off of people's backs about being single. Get off people's backs about not being married. And single people, stop acting like marriage is the end all be all. If you want to be married, that's fine, but understand why you want to be married too. Don't be trying to get married for status, for reasons of status, and because you think it's gonna make you, you was chosen. I had a girl tell me that she felt like she wanted to be married because that's like the highest, utmost compliment a man can give you. A man choosing you to be his wife. To me, that sounds like some pick me shit, but whatever. But that's how she felt. And I don't feel like that. It's like, okay, so what if a man chooses you to marry you, but he chooses to treat you like shit? Then what? I mean, then what? What does that say? Stop basing your value off of other people, or what people, or somebody wanting to marry you, or you having a baby. Stop acting like, you less of a woman just because you don't have children, and you having children makes you a mommy, makes you a grown ass woman. I think one of my nieces, I think that I got a niece, she's about 27, 28 years old or whatever. And, she had a little girl or whatever. And my little baby, she like, was she 8 or 9 years old? But I think she has that mentality too, where I think that she looks at me and thinks that, because I'm her aunt and I don't have children, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like I lack certain understandings of things. And she doesn't never say it, but it's almost like I could just tell sometimes in her delivery when we be talking about certain things. And I'd be like, girl, my thing is this, just because I don't have children don't mean I don't know shit. Now, there are certain things about parenting I don't know because I have not experienced, because I don't have children. I don't know too much about changing fucking diapers. I don't, because I've never really had to change many. I haven't. I haven't. I don't have any fucking kids. And yes, I got nieces and nephews and things like that, but they mommies and daddies always change their fucking diapers. I never jumped up and volunteered, hey, I want to change the diaper. No, I didn't do that. No, 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 no. I wasn't going to do that. When I was a young girl, when I was in my teens and my 20s and my motherfucking 30s, I enjoyed them fucking years. I didn't care if I didn't have, I wasn't that girl. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Shit. I wasn't that girl. I was living my life. I was doing me. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care about that kind of stuff. You know? So yeah, so certain things I don't know about. You feel me? I don't. But it doesn't take away from, I mean, some shit is common sense too. Like I know, like I had to tell her ass, the same exact niece. She likes to be up all damn night and she likes to sleep all fucking day. And I'm telling her, you're lazy. You're being lazy and you're not being productive. And she didn't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's a good mom, but again, she's in her 20s. And yes, people be, you have, there's no perfect parent. Parents have their learning experiences when they have children. They learn it as they go as well. They have their growing pains or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, she's a young mom, and I mean, she ain't that damn young. I mean, like I said, she in her pretty much like her late 20s, her mid to late 20s and shit, about to hit them 30s. But what I'm saying is, it's like, this mentality that's there that, I want to get some rest. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, girl, you can't get your honey when you a mommy. You can't be sleeping in all the time. Like the fuck. So and she called herself getting mad. Well, you don't know what's going on. How you gonna call me lazy and not productive? Like I did. Your ass being lazy. Shit. but but So yeah, that's another thing, girl. As a person who ain't got kids, people with kids hate to see you comment. I was like, "Ugh, you don't know, you don't have any kids." Oh my god, like I said, some shit is common sense though. Some things I don't have to know. I ain't. Sometimes you ain't gotta write the motherfucking book to know the story. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to have children sometimes to know certain things. You know, I don't have to have children to know that damn it, kids love to get up at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the motherfucking morning, and especially on the weekends. They love to get up, eat cereal and shit like that, or whatever they like to do, play video games or whatever they like to do. It's just certain things you just know. I know because I was once a kid. You know what I mean? So they can miss me with that too. Now, there's certain things I just won't speak on. You know what I mean? Because I don't have children or whatever. But yeah, so it's like I don't know. Like I said, I feel like people got to be where they are in life, and you got to let people be where they are. Don't try to, shame nobody for what they do or they don't want. Like I said, some people want kids, some people don't. Some people want to be married and some people don't. To be honest with you, they don't. And it's not for everybody. I'm gonna tell you like this. I know more people who have said that if they could do it all over again, they wouldn't have no kids. I know more people that said that. Yep. So I mean, I don't know. I know a guy right now, he can't stand being a he can't stand being a parent. He like, man, I love my kids, but he can't stand parenthood. And he was a late bloomer. He started having kids late in life, like in his late 30s somewhere. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. You gotta let people be. And I mean, like I said, some people will admit that some people truly do love parenting. Don't get me wrong. Some people do. Some people love every minute of parenting. Some people love it. Like, they like, oh my gosh, I love it. And then you got some people who knew they always wanted to be a parent. They always wanted to be a mom. They always wanted to be a dad. You know, I think about people who said that, they didn't want to be a single parent, and, they was fearful of that, and they turned around, and that's exactly what happened. You know, I don't think for me it's about, oh, I'm afraid of being a single parent. I think for me it's the things that you I don't know, I think it's the things that you can't control, like how your child gonna turn out. I think deep down that kind of I think that does kind of scare me a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just being honest with y'all. Y'all my people, I could talk to y'all. I think that's what kind of have always, just the whole not knowing what can happen. I mean, you could turn around and your child could be the next president of the fucking United States of America, or you could turn around and your child could be the next fucking Jeffrey Dahmer or some shit like that. Either way, you're going to be affected about how your child turned out. Like I said, with my friend losing her child recently, and then even with my mom losing my brother, I look at stuff like that, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, damn it, like, and that's something you can't control. You cannot and will not be able to control shit like that. But it doesn't take away from the hurt and the pain. Like, my girlfriend, she is going through it, like through it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the whole situation with her son and him passing and stuff, it was an untimely passing, and it is so, like, just shattering. And I've been knowing her since before she even had this child. And what makes it so bad is that particular child, I remember when she first got pregnant with him, and she and I was just talking about this the other day, where she was saying how that pregnancy was the one that it motivated her to leave our hometown of Dayton, and she moved out of town, and it motivated her to want better for her life, than the position she was in at the time. And, to turn around and have that life ended like that. And I told her, I said, that, of course we know that was beyond your control. And it's like, it just makes you think back to, like I said, when you have kids, it goes back to, like I was saying, where you have your kids, you raise them, but it's like you have to take your hands off of them, and you have to leave it in God's hands. Like, you really do have to take your hands off your kids. Even though you the mom and you birthed them, it's like you were the vessel that God used to get that person here and to raise that person, nurture that person, and allow that person to grow. And then that's it. It seemed like your job was done. What that person decided to do in that life, in their lifetime, was solely their decision. God gives us the power of choice. And like I said, we cannot control the decisions that our child makes, just like our parents could not control the decisions that we made, our good decisions or our bad decisions. And I think that right there is that's the part. It's luck of the draw. You got some people, they proud of their kids. Oh my gosh, like, yes, my baby. But then you got some parents, they're like, damn. Oh. So, I don't know. So y'all be sure to chime in and tell me what y'all think. Tell me what your experience is. Like, are you a parent that feels like, um, if you had kids, if you could do it all over, would you have had children? You know, if you could do it all over, would you have had children, or are you happy? Um, hold on, hold on one second. Are you happy with your children and where they turned out? Like, are you okay with how your children turned out? And um, did you have certain expectations and certain hopes for your child? And did your child meet those expectations, or did they exceed those expectations, or did they not? And if they did not, can you still say you are a proud parent? Like, how do you feel as a parent? How do you feel as a parent? Do you feel disappointed? Or do you feel like, what, it is what it is? It wasn't in my control, and it wasn't my plan. So I don't feel either way about it. How do you feel as a parent? How do you feel? I want y'all to either email me or either post a comment wherever you follow this podcast. Post a comment if it's Podbean, wherever it is, or send me an email. I really want to know, how do you feel as a parent? Did your child disappoint you? And this is no judgment. This is no judgment at all, because again, like I said, I can imagine parenting is hard. I don't give a fuck what nobody try to say. That shit is hard. Even when you got even when it's a two-parent situation, like, parenting is hard. But, like I said, whether you got one child or multiple children, whatever, how do you feel? Are you content with the route that your children are going, or the route that your child did go? Or do you feel like, man, do you feel like you blame yourself for some of the things if your child didn't go in the direction that you thought they were going to go, or that you hoped for them to go? Do you feel like you are to blame for some of it? And I'm not saying you are, but do you feel like you are? Because I'm a firm believer that, once your child becomes a certain age, you are not to blame. Because again, we have the power of choice. The good Lord gave us the power of choice. And so we decide, like, what? This was my upbringing, but this is what I want to do different. So we can't always blame our mommy and our daddies about shit. Oh, I didn't have my mom in the house, or I didn't have my dad in the house, or I didn't have this, I didn't have that. So this is why, okay, you didn't have that. So what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? You know? So that's how I look at that. So yeah, like I said, if y'all want to chime in, I'll be more than happy. All comments are welcome. And share with me. I really want to know. I really, really, really want to know. And let me add this too. It seemed like people always got something to fucking say. If you don't have kids, oh, we ain't gonna have them kids. If you do have a child, oh, we gonna have another one. If you have another one, when you gonna have another one? You have another one. When you gonna have another? When you gonna have another one? Like, you got 3 motherfucking kids, and then now you get up to 4 and 5. Then them same people talking about your ass. Oh, yeah, she got about 4 fat kids now. Damn, when she gonna stop having kids? She need to get her tubes tied. Damn, she love the fuck, don't she? Oh my gosh, it never stops. So that's why we cannot allow people to dictate our lives. And if you know what you want out of life, and you know if kids is something that you want out of life, go for it. If you don't want kids and that ain't what you want out of life, don't go for it. You know? Shit. Oh shoot. Okay, y'all. All right, y'all. So I think I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish binge watching. I'm watching this show called The Pit. Okay, it's really good. It's like ER and Grey's Anatomy and stuff, but it's really good. I'm gonna watch some more of that. I'm gonna finish watching Beyond the Gates. I'm binge watching that too. I'm just binge watching a couple of things, and I gotta finish Force. I'm on that too. I gotta finish Force up. So anyway, so this what I'm gonna do, y'all. I'm gonna start leaving y'all with a quote of the week. And this quote today's quote of the week is by Eleanor Roosevelt. And it says, "A woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong it is until it's in hot water." All right, guys, that's it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on social media. All right, take care.